You're listening to Wycombe Sound, online, on Radio Player, and on 106.6 FM.
Somebody said that it couldn't be done, but he with a chuckle replied that maybe it couldn't, but he would be one who wouldn't say so till he'd tried. So he buckled right in with the trace of a grin on his face. If he worried, he hid it. He started to sing as he tackled the thing that couldn't be done, and he did it. Somebody scoffed, "Oh, you'll never do that. At least no one ever has done it." But he took off his coat and he took off his hat, and the first thing we knew, he'd begun it. With a lift of his chin and a bit of a grin, without any doubting or quid it, he started to sing as he tackled the thing that couldn't be done, and he did it. There are thousands to tell you it cannot be done. There are thousands to prophesy failure. There are thousands to point out to you, one by one, the dangers that wait to assail you. But just buckle in with a bit of a grin. Just take off your coat and go to it. Just start in to sing as you tackle the thing that cannot be done, and you'll do it.
Wycombe Wanderers Show.
It's how we started the show 12 months ago, as we remember the great Bill Turnbull, who sadly passed away a year ago. We'll be bringing you news of Prostate Cancer UK's latest campaign in memory of the Chairboys fan and, of course, broadcasting legend as well. Many of you will have known him. Many will be involved in the march, which is taking place next month. We'll look ahead to that as well. Also on the way in the next hour, we'll catch up with Phil with our match briefing. We'll look ahead to the trip to Northampton on Saturday and reflect on the defeat to Sutton in the EFL/Carabao Cup. We'll also hear from manager Matt Bloomfield, which was recorded after the full-time whistle. We'll also hear from the manager speaking earlier on today as well. We'll also catch up with someone who's very familiar with Sutton as as a word, and also as a team. He scored 2 of his 10 goals against them exactly almost 30 years ago as part of that side which got us to the trophy final, and also, of course, won promotion to the Football League as well. Matt Crossley will be joining us very, very soon as well. Really looking forward to catching up with him again. We'll hear from Carl Simon as well, who's the Wycombe Wanderers Women's manager. But first, as we remember the great Bill Turnbull, 1 year on since he passed away after being diagnosed with prostate cancer, the club urges men to broadcast it like Bill and take and share Prostate Cancer UK's online risk checker to help understand their risk of detecting prostate cancer. Bill was one of the Chairboys' most passionate supporters, falling in love with the club during the FA Cup run to the semi-final in 2001 and attending many games with his sons before accepting the invitation to become the club's commentator for his online broadcasts. I'm sure you remember his referee's comments very well indeed. The BBC Breakfast presenter naturally triumphed in the role, becoming just as big a hit with the Wycombe faithful as he was with the millions of viewers on the red sofa, preparing a beer in the bar with fans to any red carpet treatment on his visits to Adams Park. Bill developed a close friendship with many around the club, in particular Matt Bloomfield, and would later become a near neighbour of his in Suffolk as well. We'll hear the manager refer to that later on in the show too. Bill's cancer diagnosis encouraged him to share his story with men across the world, and his legacy remains around the club and further afield as well, with many men taking his advice to get checked out for early signs of prostate cancer and also to talk to each other about their experiences as well. 1 year on from his passing, Prostate Cancer UK is celebrating the power of awareness to create change and is asking the nation, you might have heard them launch today the campaign Broadcast It Like Bill and share its 30-second online risk checker, which you can find via the Wycombe Wanderers website as well, where you'll also see quotes from Laura Kirby, who's the Chief Executive of Prostate Cancer UK, who said it was important to see a reaction after thousands of men missed out on diagnosis during the pandemic. There's been a huge rise in referrals and treatments, and that's testament to the incredible work done by so many to raise awareness, and she thanks the NHS staff who have been treating more patients than ever before. As I say, you can find out more details on the Wycombe Wanderers website, and some information as well as we count down to a very special event, which again you may have well have heard about, which is a 26.2 mile marathon march, which also is in aid of Prostate Cancer UK as well. That happens on the 17th of September, and it starts at Wembley. And you might have heard about it because it's been spearheaded by Jeff Stelling, who's done this for a number of years as well. And there are many, more than 300 people involved in that. And not only that as well, but they've already raised a lot of money for a very good cause as well, of course. And the countdown well and truly on to this march, where you can follow Jeff Stelling and the many who are taking involved. They've been going through loads of training already, raised more than £110,000, and just some of those people involved include Ian Baker, Tracy Brown, Alan Cecil as well, who I'm sure you'll be familiar with, and himself who's battled prostate cancer, Steve Kopp as well, Tony Hector, the club director, Craig and Charlie Kay as well. Joanne Ledger is also involved. Well done to Ian Petty, Peter Radford, and also Jeremy Spollander, and also Anthony Stone, as well as Alan Sunderland. I'm not reading out all 300. Peter Walker, and also Charlie Wicks, who are all taking part in the event as well. Do check out the Wycombe Wanderers website for more details on how you can support them. As I say, it's happening on the 17th of September, and they'll very much welcome your support as they march from Wembley to Adams Park in memory of Bill Turnbull. More details on that throughout this show, as well as we'll bring you the Broadcast It Like Bill message as well a little later on. But first, let's catch up with Phil, who we caught up with to reflect on that EFL Cup exit at the hands of Sutton United on Tuesday night.
Well, yeah, it was a bit of a bump in the road, really, because we looked like we were starting to put together some performances and results. Unbeaten in 3 in the league, coming into the cup game against a team down the bottom end of League 2. We'd comfortably beaten MK Dons in round 1. So I think, with justification, fans were maybe looking at a possibility of a cup run as well. But on the night, just disappointing, really. We created chances, we weren't clinical. I thought Sutton took their chance really well. It was an unfortunate sort of defensive error that led to their goal. And once they're in the lead, they were full value for their defensive display, and 2 banks of 4. Really difficult to break down, but when the chances came for Wycombe, they didn't take them, and that's what will really hurt Matt Bloomfield and the boys. And yeah, just disappointing. And after the game, Matt Bloomfield couldn't hide his disappointment either. We started the game off very well. We had a real clear-cut chance early on. Then we became a little bit too passive and a little bit too pedestrian, maybe is the right word, with our passing. Although we were dominating the game, we gave away an opportunity, which was disappointing. I thought we became erratic for 10 minutes and came away from the things that were getting us success. So at half-time, we asked the boys to be a little more progressive with our passing. We needed to play in behind and forward a lot more than what we were doing at the end of the first half. And I thought we did that second half. We dominated the game. 18 shots, XG of 2.58. That's just unfortunate. Tonight we didn't put our chances away. You put a strong side out there. You said on Saturday you really wanted to get through this round. So it must be very disappointing not to find that way through, especially in the second half. Yeah, absolutely. We put the strong team out because we wanted to win the game. Obviously we're a few players down tonight, which isn't easy for a squad that we're putting together and building, but I feel like we've done enough in the game to win. The amount of shots we've had, the amount of XG we've got, the amount of balls in the box, we've done enough to win the game. It's just unfortunate, gave Sutton something to hold on to, and they defended for their lives and defended extremely well. A different back three again tonight because of injuries as well. Is that another frustration? Yeah, definitely, absolutely. Of course it is. It's been a season of frustrations, hasn't it, in terms of injuries? During pre-season we spoke about it a lot, and now we've had the ones that have come on top.
disappointing time, both JJ and Taff from that left-hand side, so we need to move Joe out to the left today. So yeah, of course it's disappointing. It makes things, the same bodies going and playing a lot of minutes. We've still got Wills and Jace working their way back to fitness, so yeah, it makes the squad extremely sort of thin. But like I say, we picked a team that we believed could win the game. We on performance and chances created, we did enough to win the game. So whilst we're extremely disappointed, there's bits to be pleased about for sure.
Another positive was the introduction of David Wheeler for his first appearance of the season. Looked very bright.
Yeah, he did. He looked very, very bright. I thought he arrived twice on 2 crosses. You put your mortgage on him scoring both of them, don't you? And unfortunately, it just didn't happen for him tonight. But I thought his intensity, his desire to run in behind and get on the end of things, we have to be really pleased with that, because obviously Dave's been a really important player for this club for a number of years, and I thought he looked really bright when he came on tonight.
Another frustration, we had that 3-game run, looking at a home game in the Cup as well before a tough trip to Northampton. Lost a bit of momentum possibly?
Well, it's up to us, isn't it, to bounce back. We'll talk about momentum, and it's a thing. We believe in it, and we spoke before the game about tagging another performance on the back of the good performances recently tonight, and that's what we wanted to do. To a degree, we kind of did that, but we haven't won the game, which is obviously the most important thing. So we have to bounce back starting with Saturday. We have to see the game with clear eyes, look at the things we did well and how we need to improve, and make sure we're ready for a real tough trip to Northampton on Saturday.
Gaffer, a tight game, chasing a goal, but no Brandon Hannell in the squad tonight. What's going on there?
No, Brands wasn't in the squad, which is obviously disappointing when we're chasing a goal second half. He's been extremely good recently for us. We love Brands. If there's one thing I've learned about management, it's that you have to think on your feet and adapt at any point. So, no, I don't think I should comment too much on that.
Yeah, you can really hear from his voice, can't you, how obviously disappointing it was, but positive to take as well. It seemed to be so much possession as well.
Yeah, although we all know possession, no one really remembers how much possession or how little possession you had. It's all about how many goals you've scored. So I think what Matt Bloomfield will be working on this week with the boys and his coaching staff is how to make that possession turn into goals, because we're seeing now that the style of play is starting to click on some parts of the pitch. We haven't really seen it in the final third as much, but that's where we need to make sure we're doing the magic, because that's where we'll really be able to hurt teams, hopefully, as the season progresses. But yeah, lots of work to do still. And
just goes to show how big an impact injuries can have on the side as well.
Yeah, I think it's frustrating, because I think we'd probably found the back three the preferred back three, if you will, in terms of age and fitness and etc. I think at Bristol Rovers it looked really good with Tafazoli on the left, Lowe in the middle, Farino on the right, and then when Tafazoli picked up his knock, Richard Keogh coming off the bench with all that experience is a great option to add into a game to close a game out. And that was a game that the same formation that Wycombe had at MK Dons, which was another really good performance at the back. But injuries disrupted that now. So hopefully Tafazoli's injury isn't serious and he's back in for selection very soon.
We've got the transfer window, of course, closing at the end of this week as well, and I guess that makes it especially interesting for fans, knowing if anyone else will be brought in. Obviously, there's been a lot of new arrivals already. Yeah, new arrivals. There's obviously lots of talk about a player departing as well, possibly. So yeah, it's never dull, is it? The transfer window when it comes. I just find it really frustrating that it happens during the season. We're already, a month into the season and the window's still open. There's still lots of jostling and teams having to sort of have a look around and do whatever happens, because if a player does leave, you want to have enough time to replace them. And I'm sure there's targets and stuff all lined up, but then you have to get those deals across the line in time. So I'm sure fans will be desperately checking their phone on Friday for any updates. But does it feel things are really starting to click in the team? Obviously, the two opening games of the season, those 3-0 defeats, it must seem quite a long way off now from what you've seen the team playing recently. Yeah, they're moving in the right direction. I think Freddie Potts is a really good sort of example of that as well. I think as a young lad getting his first real taste of consistent senior football, and I thought against Sutton United he played really well, and you can tell that he's a exceptionally talented footballer. His passing, etc., is really, really good, and you can tell he's learning a lot alongside the likes of Josh Gow and Luke Leahy, etc. I think he's going to be a really exciting player to watch this season, and his upward curve has been a joy to watch. And you've got players like TJ as well coming back, who you think he feels like someone who's really establishing or trying to establish himself now.
big season for TJ DeBar. And yeah, he's got to make an impression now this season. I think this is his time. All the ingredients are there. It's exciting to watch. A goal would do him the world of good, I think, and hopefully that can come very soon.
We had the news this week that the Cambridge game's postponed, which reflects the level of international players that are at the club. Yeah,
it's unfortunate that it's a Saturday fixture we lose, because obviously they're really good at Adams Park, especially with a team that isn't too far away with Cambridge. But with the injuries that we've got mounting up as well, it's not a bad thing, I don't think, that perhaps we get that Saturday off to give some of those players a bit more time to get back as well, and also allow our internationals to enjoy that experience of representing their country and linking up with their international teammates, because it's a great experience for them, and we wish them all the very best, and hopefully they come back without any injuries.
And aside from this Tuesday, good to play on a Tuesday recently.
Yes, yeah, well, we got the Saturday curse out of the way at Bristol Rovers, and then, lo and behold, we play on a Tuesday where Matt Bloomfield had a 100% record on a Tuesday night, and we lost that one. So football's a funny old game, as someone said famously a long time ago.
It sounds like a bit of a cliche, but do you think that the players will be especially keen to bounce back on Saturday against Northampton? Yeah, especially with the gap the week after. It'll be lovely to go into that gap of the season on the back of a 3 points. And also, I think, talking to Freddie Potts last week for Wanderers TV, he was talking about they just had a week without a Tuesday fixture, and they were able to sort of do some really good sessions up at the training ground, which, with all these new players and the new style of play, I think they're worth their weight in gold, those sessions. So we'll have another 2 weeks of that, which I think hopefully we can see the rewards of that off the back of the international break when we're home again on the 16th of September against Blackpool. So yeah, but it would be lovely to go into that international break with an away victory at Northampton. Really nice to hear Joe Jacobson on the commentary with you on Tuesday saying about how Freddie spoke so well and so mature for someone so young, and he's so keen to really do well here as well. Yeah, and the great thing about these loanees is that they're exceptionally talented footballers. Of course, they're here to develop the other side of their game as well, so we will have to see some mistakes and some naivety at times. But as I said, the progress that the likes of Freddie Potts and his mates are making, I think, is exceptionally exciting to watch, and I think he's going to have a really good season for us. So, and great to hear JJ talking about the fact that he's going to be back on the grass soon as well. I was going to say, it's fantastic to have some positive news, isn't it? Because you hear about injuries and you think, obviously with Jack being out for a while, but to hear players are coming back as well is really positive. Yeah, Jack's is going to be a long one. I think he's going to get a few commentary stints himself before he's back. I would like to think that the commentary maybe gets them back quicker than they would have done before, because they think, blimey, if I'm out injured, I've got to sit with Phil every game. So whether that expedites their recovery or not, I'm not sure. I'd like to think it does. Yeah, so it's good to be able to call on those guys. And, we had it with Nick Freeman when he was at Wycombe Wanderers and he had a long-term injury. Jack, we were chatting the other day about when he's going to come and join me up in the commentary box, and he's really looking forward to it, because he finds match days very difficult when he's injured, because you can't do anything. You're watching the game, you're frustrated and you can't take part. You're there supporting, obviously, and doing what you can, but as a footballer who trains and plays games, that's their job. He finds it very frustrating, and he thinks the commentary is going to be a good outlet for that. And a change of management at Charlton, hopefully you'll be able to take advantage of that and get Danny Sender back with you as well. Yeah, I mean, it just shows you what a crazy world football can be at times, 4 games in, and Danny's done a fantastic job at Charlton right the way through the academy. He's been there 3 years. He's been slowly working his way up. When Dean Holden got the job, he appointed Danny as his assistant, and now Dean Holden is no longer in the job. They've taken Danny out as well as a goalkeeping coach as well, and I'm excited to see what he does next, because we've all heard his tactical knowledge on the commentaries. He's one of the most hard-working people in football. He's a great guy. His attitude's exemplary, and I think wherever he ends up, they'll be very lucky to have him. So hopefully 3 points on Saturday. Fingers crossed. If we can take down the Cobblers, that would be wonderful. Thank you so much. Enjoy the game. Thank you, Colin. Great to do a job on the Cobblers, wouldn't it, on Saturday. Away at Northampton, Phil will be bringing you the whole game live here on 106.6 and on Wanderers TV as well. And don't forget, you can hear that full interview with Matt Bloomfield also on Wanderers TV. We'll chat to Matt Crossley next.
Online.
Still to come on this week's edition of the Wycombe Wanderers Show, we'll hear more from manager Matt Bloomfield. We'll catch up with Wycombe Wanderers Women boss Carl Simon as well, as they prepare for the start of their season this weekend. They're away to Ascot in their league opener. Of course, riding on the success of the Lionesses as well, getting to the final of the Women's World Cup only a few weeks to go. We'll look at some of the Chairboys who will be on international duty coming up in the next week or so as well. But first, if you're listening a few weeks back, we got got to speak to the man who led Wycombe Wanderers to the Football League as part of a series of key influencers, if you like, of getting the Chairboys from non-league into the EFL, and also someone who played over 300 times for the club. I saw many of them, and didn't score that many goals, mainly due to being a defender, but 2 of them were scored against last Tuesday's opponents. I'm very pleased to say joining us on the Wycombe Wanderers Show once again is Matt Crossley. Hello, sir.
Thank you. Hello, Colin. You okay?
I'm really good, thank you. How are you doing?
Yep. Not bad. Yep. Fit. Well, I've got back still a bit sore at the moment, but yeah, I'm okay. Okay.
That's
thanks.
the main thing. 30 years on.
Yeah.
Does it feel like 30 years ago? I'm sure you get asked that a lot.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. Well, I mean, it's unbelievable. You say 30 years, it doesn't seem like that at all. It only seems, doesn't seem that long at all. 30 years is a long time when you sit back and think about it. But I suppose because I see a lot of the old players still, and I see Martin still, and I see people at the club. It doesn't. If I'd have been away for that long, it'd have seemed like 30 years. Because I see it quite often, it only seems like a few years ago. So, yeah.
It must really help to keep the memories fresh, and really shows how special football is as well. Because I imagine, if you're a builder, we wouldn't be in touch with you in 30 years' time. So reflecting on a great extension you did 30 years ago.
No, I was one of the lucky ones, being a football and playing for Wycombe and end up being a professional footballer. No, I was definitely one of the lucky ones, and there's lots of memories and lots of good times I had with all my old teammates.
And such a special time to be involved in the club, obviously, because we've spoken to you before about that period from being amateurs to going to full-time professional.
Yeah, it was. It was quite hard work to start with going professional, but we got used to it. The non-league scene was I think it's a bit different than what it is now. It was. For both semi-finals and the FA Trophy gets before the FA Trophy was it was a massive cup, and I think Martin put it in his book that when Martin took over, said that's what I want to win, the FA Trophy, and but nowadays it seems the FA Trophy doesn't seem that big unless you're in those later stages, get to Wembley. Yeah.
Well, we had that game obviously against Sutton in the Cup on Tuesday night, and that must really sort of bring it all back to you.
It does. Obviously, I got the 2 goals, and we lost the first. I didn't play in the first leg actually. I had a flu virus building up to it, and I think I lost about half a stone. I turned up for the game, and Martin said, because and the physio Dave Jones said, it wouldn't be a good idea to play because of how much weight I lost during the week. I was a bit very disappointed about not playing, and we lost. I don't think it was down to me that we lost. We just didn't play very well. But I was fit and raring to go for the second leg, like everybody else was.
And did it feel like there was extra pressure, if you like, because obviously the stage of the competition that you were at that time?
It was. I mean, we desperately wanted we'd been at Wembley a couple of years before, and we desperately wanted to get back there again. I mean, it sounds funny now looking back. I mean, it didn't feel like it, but looking back, the league was virtually sort of wrapped up anyway, and it was very disappointing losing the first leg. But the second leg, I mean, Martin was great at these motivational talks before we went out and played, and I think he'll even admit himself that he didn't really have to say much for the second leg. We were virtually sort of breaking the door down to get out onto that pitch because we desperately wanted to get to Wembley.
Did it mean that you approached games differently? Because as you say, you were going so well in the league, and I guess the cup could be a bit of a distraction in some ways.
It was a bit. I mean, it was such a good season. I mean, we didn't lose that many games, and when you're winning games, it's sort of it keeps momentum keeps going. You want to win the next game, and I don't think many players got injured, to be honest. And when you're winning, you keep playing, and the trophy came around, and we just treated it like any other game because, as I say, you had that Wembley thing at the end of it, and also doing a double. That we were up for every game, and I mean, Martin wouldn't have anything else than I can honestly say that I can't ever remember being relaxed before any game, thinking, "Oh, this is going to be nice and easy today." It wasn't. Martin made sure that we were at it, and we had to work hard to get our results. It looked easy, but we worked hard to get them. Yeah.
It felt like there was such a familiarity among the team, and obviously the players that you had around you as well. It must have given you such great confidence going into those games, though. It
was. I mean, we had, as I say, you look back and you look at the players you played with. I mean, every position on the pitch, we had quality. As I say, virtually the whole team that we had Martin took us into the Football League, and we kept that team virtually together for 2 years. I mean, we were in the playoffs the following season with virtually the same team, and team spirit helps a lot. And as I say, and quality players definitely help. And it was a great team to play in.
And great for you to get those 2 goals, obviously, as you say, in that second game.
Yeah, it was. It was the first. I'm one of those I'm not bothered who scores as long as we win. It was one of those, but very fortunate to score 2. First one was a header from Gups' corner, quite early in the game, I think it was, but it was such a relief to score. I mean, the celebration was awful, I must admit, and I always get reminded about the celebration, but the celebration was like a relief, and the second goal was a sort of tap from the corner again, obviously, that's why I was up there, and it just fell. No one marked me, it just fell at the edge of the 6-yard box, and I side-footed it in with my left foot. I was well happy. If we'd have had a penalty towards the end, I wonder if they'd have let me take it.
You'd have kept the match ball. That'd have been even a better story.
I'd have blazed it over the bar, most probably. Yeah, but no, it's good. I think Scotty was injured for the first game as well, and he came back and he performed in that game as well. He was always a big miss. He didn't miss many games, but you could tell when he missed games. But no, he came back for the second leg, and it was guns blazing. And I was very happy just to win, and even happier to score 2 goals in that game.
And great as well, because you had such great support in those days. Crowds around 5,000 just watching games like that alone.
Oh no, it was great. I mean, it's always when you're winning, crowds seem to turn out, but there was.
Confident he'll come back.
And you look around and what you could see was and I've seen some pictures as well from the home, and even we didn't have the big stand at those few years, they were behind us. And
Are you still there? Sorry, I've been dropped out a moment there. Sorry.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, where did I get to? That was it. Come back.
Yes. No, sorry, you were saying about the fans.
Yeah, I was just saying how great it was. That it was packed all the time. Obviously when you're winning, it helps. But I've seen some pictures and some old games. They show clips sometimes from old games down at Adams Park the year we won the league, and the ground was absolutely rammed. Every game, and they got behind us every game, and and we won most of our games, which was good anyway. It was good atmosphere at the time, good feeling around the town.
Special memories against Runcorn in the final, obviously, as well.
Yeah, it was. I mean, that was good. I remember Jason's free kick, and sort of we had to calm him down after that. He was going absolutely loopy, but it was a comfortable win in the end. I mean, it was about a bit of pressure, to try and win the double against Runcorn. We beat them, I think 5-1. I think 4 or 5-1 about 3 weeks before as well in the league. I think we beat them actually to win the league, and we played them in the final, and we sort of knew we were going to win if we performed well, and we did perform well. So I was very lucky to win the trophy again.
And the cup and league double, as you say, it couldn't have felt any sweeter, I imagine, and obviously sealing promotion to the Football League as well.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, not many teams do a double in any sort of standard. I mean, for us to do, I think Colchester might have done it the year they won it, just before us, a couple of years before us, and we thought, they do it, we'll have to do it as well, because they were one of our rivals at the time, and to win a league double and to say you've actually won it and got the medals and everything for it, it's a nice feeling, and nice to look back on as well.
And what was the pre-season like, sort of in between? Because were you sort of braced for quite a step up on that trip to Carlisle?
Yeah, we were. It was. I didn't know what I was doing to start with, because Martin sort of he didn't rush to sign us all back on, and we went away at the end of the season. We went to Faliraki. Funny enough, with Martin, we all went away. It was told if we won the league, we could have a holiday for a few days. We ended up going to Faliraki in Rhodes, I think it was, and nothing was said then, and it was just 2 weeks before pre-season. Martin rang up and said, when you're coming in, sort of thing. He was like that. He said, I'm waiting for you when you're coming in, and I went in and sort of took the full-time offer up, which virtually every single player did, and you're not going to turn it down anyway. And pre-season was hard work, and Carlisle, it was hard work. The first few games were really getting the pace of the new league was it was hard work for the first few weeks. Once we got the pace of the how the league was, it was still hard work, but we got used to it, and we did really well. Yeah, it's
a long way apart from anything, isn't it?
Oh no, it was a long way, and it was just really pleasing to get a result, because I know it was only a draw, but it was good to go out there and not to lose. And there was quite a big following up there. I mean, a lot of Wycombe fans must have took the weekend up at Carlisle, I think.
Yeah, stick a rock. That's all. Was there a real feeling amongst the players as well? Like, kind of, we made it now. We're in the Football League.
What do you mean, like
that real kind of step up as well?
Yeah. That was a feeling. We talked quite a lot. We talked quite a lot about how hard it was, and trying to get used to it. The pace of the game and everything. And people didn't know what we were like either. Teams we played, and we were a bit unlucky not to get automatic promotion. And we ended up doing it through the playoffs. I mean, I think we lost Scotty during that season as well. Swindon signed him in the Premier League, and I think Gups win at the end of the season. So people take notice of us, and a couple of players got good moves out of it.
And what do you sort of remember most about that time?
Well, we still stay in touch with a lot of the players. We're in a WhatsApp group, and it's mainly the players in the WhatsApp group is the team that done the double that year. And we meet up at the dinner, obviously, and we meet up at least once a year. We meet someone and have a couple of drinks, and it's the team spirit. We don't look back and we don't sort of tell each other. We're all level. We don't say he was better than him, he went better than him. We're all level. We all appreciate what we all did for each other, and we appreciate that if it weren't for all of us together, none of this would have happened. Yeah.
It's fascinating to think, isn't it, that you're all, doing different things nowadays, obviously, and in different places. Steve Guppy's in America, Andy Kerr's in Canada, but yet you still have that sort of thing in common that you all kind of experience together.
Yeah, it is. I think that's. I wonder what it's like with other clubs. I think if you've won something, the players who've won something sort of tend to keep in touch. I think that's what it is. And I might be wrong, but and we had. We went out together, we won together, we lost together. There wasn't. If one had a go at another player, had a go at another player, it was forgotten about. At the end of the game, we'd argue. I'd argue with Paul Hyde all game. And at the end of the game, we'd have a beer together in the clubhouse, So, yeah, it's like that. We still have a beer now and again as well.
It's a real special camaraderie, isn't it? And I guess for people that haven't been in a dressing room with other footballers as well, it's difficult to describe how that bond is.
Yeah, I know it is. I mean, footballers will always say it's one of the best places they've been, and it's one of the funniest places they've ever been. Is a football dressing room, and it's funny. You have to be there to appreciate it. You can't. If someone says to you, "Oh, tell us, what's it like in there?" It's hard to put your finger on what it was. But I mean, we had a good manager, didn't we? So, I always say it wasn't nice to be around Martin when we lost. I mean, we didn't lose that many, but when we won, I mean, he was brilliant anyway. But when we won, he was. I always say he's the best comedian I've ever heard. Out of all the comedians in the world, he's not a comedian he's a joke of a manager. I mean, his jokes and what he was saying, the change room, if we won after the game, it would have us all in stitches, And as I say, we stuck together. I think the players there wasn't many who didn't join the ride. I mean, a couple come and left, but mainly all the players stuck together, and we knew we was singing from the same hymn sheet. Yeah.
No, it sounds fantastic, and you must be so proud to be part of that as well. Because I guess even it's better in a way to sort of reflect on that time, because perhaps at the time itself you perhaps didn't realise quite how special it was.
No, it wasn't. I wouldn't say it definitely wasn't taken for granted. But we knew how hard, and we sometimes we won games 4-0, and people might have said, "Oh, that was easy today," but the reason it was easy is because we all rolled our sleeves up and worked hard. It wasn't just get out there and win 4-0. If we didn't work hard, we wouldn't have won 4-0. It was like that, and win in the other games. We knew, if we all stuck together, it'd be good times. And as you say, we don't look back and take anything for granted. It was maybe we didn't take everything in, which we should have, And I think a lot of players, or even the top players, would say that as well. Some of the stuff they won, but. No, it's really good times, and it's a great club. So.
Fantastic to think, isn't it, that not so long ago you were playing teams like Fisher Athletic and Northwich Victoria, and then that step up to Football League clubs, and more recently, obviously they're taking on teams in the Championship as well, and the likes of playing Spurs in the Cup and things like that.
Oh no, yeah, I was speaking to someone the other day. I think it was one of my brother-in-law. Was looking at the table, and it was like Bournemouth. We played Bournemouth were down there in the league. We had Brighton, we had Brentford, all those teams down there. So as I say, if they can do it, why can't anyone else do it? We had Wigan had gone up there, and that Wigan were down in our league. But look at all the some of the non-league grounds, and they say, yeah, I've played there. Pointing at you, I've played there. Every team he mentioned, Stalybridge, Shelby. I'm saying, yeah, I played there. And we had some, like you said, some teams we played against, like Fisher and down to Gravesend and teams like that. It was really good old football grounds as well. It was quite nice to go there and play as well. A lot of the new football grounds aren't the same as some of the old football grounds. Yeah.
And as you touched on, I'm sure it may be similar in many clubs, but there does seem something that's especially special about this football club. And you talked about the Ex-Players Association. They've got their dinner coming up in a couple of months. Scary to think November's a couple of months, but anyway. And it'll be brilliant to kind of mark the occasion of 30 years, and the manager will be there, and yourself, and really great to kind of get together with former teammates as well.
Yeah, it will be. It will be. I mean, I'm sure. I think it's one of the big ex-players associations in the country. I was told, but it's great. I mean, even some of the players, you get to know some of the players from previous years and after and that, and everyone says the same about the club. It's such a great club, and it's a great club to bring your family to. Everyone got looked after all the time, and no, as it says, I mean, some people sometimes say the club's too nice, but it's It was a really good club to play for, everything, even, I remember getting a Wycombe Wanderers blazer and tie and the shirt with Wycombe on, and it was quite proud wearing all that sort of stuff. And, teams don't wear them anymore, the old blazer and the slacks and that and everything like that. But, it's all tracksuits now, which I don't mind, go with the times. But, no, it was the old school tie, Wycombe Wanderers, isn't it? It's very good.
It must be such a nice feeling as well, just going to Adams Park and thinking, I played on this ground, and I was part of, the kind of foundations, if you like, that's helped get them to where they are today.
Yeah, it is. It's very quite very nostalgic when I go back there. The smell and walking past the changing rooms and seeing the crowd and going in different parts of the ground. It's a good place to go to, and I suppose if players have had success at other clubs, then they should feel the same about when they go back to their clubs. But yeah, going back to Wycombe is really it's lovely, and very welcoming as well, and I appreciate that.
And obviously the fans still remember, and I've seen you play, and you probably don't look that different either to them, and it's brilliant to sort of reminisce with them as well.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I haven't got grey yet. I can't believe I'm not grey yet. People think I dye my hair, but I definitely don't.
You'd know, wouldn't you?
One of those things. I'm lucky. I know. I just got lucky. Yeah, but it's great. It's great when someone comes up to you and says, "Oh, I remember you. You was a good player," or whatever. And I remember the times when you played at Wycombe and the times we had. And I've heard fans say it was the best time. The different age groups will say that certain times were the best times, to watch Wycombe. And there's quite a few who come up and say that when we played and when we won the league, got into the Football League was their best time. And it's always nice to hear.
Well, it's been a real pleasure catching up with you again. Thank you so much indeed for your time, and brilliant to have you on the show, and look forward to seeing you at the dinner in November.
Yep, great, Colin. Yep, hopefully I'll get up to Wycombe maybe before that, or maybe if Phil wants another co-presenter.
Absolutely. He's always on the lookout for summarisers.
I might get on with him again, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be brilliant. Thank you so much, Steve, for your time. Matt Crossley speaking to us here at Wycombe Sound.
Online, on Radio Player, and on 106.6 FM. This is Wycombe Sound.
Bill Turnbull, a broadcasting legend whose tireless campaigning for prostate cancer awareness left a lasting legacy for men's health in the UK. Bill's message was clear.
I really want you and your loved ones to take this simple online risk check now.
Let's honour Bill's legacy together. Let's get men across the UK to check their risk. Let's broadcast it like Bill. Check your risk. Share the risk checker. Save lives.
Final part of the Wycombe Wanderers Show for this week. Still to come, we've got an abridged notice board section looking at some of the players who will be on international duty, with the Cambridge United game next Saturday being postponed. So that'll be on a Tuesday night. Apart from last Tuesday, got a good record on Tuesday nights now. We'll hear from manager Matt Bloomfield, speaking to Phil a little earlier on today as well. Don't forget the transfer window closes. The deadline is 11 o'clock tomorrow night. If you're listening on the podcast on the 1st of September. And we'll build up to the trip to Northampton Town as well, of course, on Saturday, which you can hear live on Wanderers TV and also here on Wycombe Sound on 106.6 FM as well. But first, you might have been heard our brilliant package with Cara Howes, the Wycombe Wanderers Women captain, recently on how the Lionesses have impacted Wycombe Wanderers Women. Wycombe Wanderers Women's League season kicks off on Sunday, and I've been catching up with their manager, Carl Simon, to find out how their pre-season's been going.
Pre-season's been really good, actually. We've had a new influx of players, especially for the under-18s and the under-23s. Regarding the first team, we brought in 5 new players, and we brought 4 new goalkeepers into the clubs, plus a new coach in Ian Beckford. So I'm sure you'll enjoy speaking to him at some point. But no, it's been a really good pre-season, and we're happy with where we are.
And what's the integration been like of the new players into the current group?
The players we had currently were a really good group. So any new player coming in, it's very easy to work their way into the squad, because, the girls are very welcoming. It's a very inclusive group, so the integration's been really, really good. I mean, what we've done, we've pinpointed certain players that we wanted and went out and got those players. So, in terms of integration, it's been quite seamless, because it's positions that we needed filling. So they were almost waited for and expected arrival. So, yeah, integration's been great.
Sounds like there's been a real process from last season where you've identified where you need to improve for this campaign, and that's what particularly you've been working on. Yeah,
I mean, last season was definitely a transitional period, and yeah, we went through a stage in the first few months of the season. We had to do almost a rebuild. We're not in that situation now. We're much firmer ground, so it's been a lot better.
And how would you describe what the pre-season games have been like? Have they been really good exercises in working on what you want to, so that the team are where you want them to be for the start of the season?
I think most of that's been done really at training. In terms of the pre-season games, it's been tough because we've had half of the players have been away. So a lot of our players are teachers, or they work in the police force, or paramedics and so forth, and especially the teachers, this is the time they get their holiday. So we've had almost half, we've got 60 players, we've had half that number at any given time away. So we've not been able to have pre-season games for the under-23s. So we've just had pre-season games under the first team guys, but we've had combined squads. And even the under-18s, I think we've had only 2 or 3 games. So what we've been doing is been using all the players and representing in the first team squad. Having said that, most of our games have been against Tier 4 and Tier 3 development teams. So that's been challenging, but it's been good all the same. And good lessons have been learned, and we've got some good minutes under everyone's belt. And most importantly for me is we've been able to give the under-18s and under-23 players exposure to first-team football, which they've been delighted to get, and allow players to understand that there is a clear pathway, and we won't just shut down because half the first-team squad aren't here. Other players will get a chance, and we'll still take those games on. So it's been good in that respect.
That must be so motivational. I know we've spoken to you before about it, but players in the lower groups, if you like, who can try to impress yourself and the other coaches and really earn that spot in the first team.
Absolutely, and that's what I'm quite strange in that respect. I get quite excited when a lot of players aren't available because I think, at last I can get these other guys in and give them a go at it. So yeah, it's been good to be able to give first team debuts to so many players and give them that exposure to the first team. And
there are so many examples of where that's happened as well.
Yeah, of course there is. I mean, we've got the likes of Molly Carter, and she's now made it into the first team squad, and she's from our under-18s squad. So she's a player that we've had a lot of trust in. She's real talent. We've been watching her from the first day we came to the club, to be honest. And she's grown, and she's taken a lot of exposure now to first team football. And we think that she's about there now to make a mark this season.
And you've got Ascot, the first game this Sunday. That's away. Are they a team who you've obviously come up against before, and you're quite excited to face again?
Yeah, local rivals almost, aren't they, Ascot? And, we had some really good games against them. A much more settled side than our own. But when we played them, so it was always tough. But we always felt we gave them a really good game. But they just had that little edge in terms of experience of players who knew the league, whereas we didn't have that. Especially with our rebuild mid-season, and we had to bring a raft of players up. So we're looking forward to playing them again. So we've got them in the first month twice. I think we've got them in the cup as well. So, yeah, it's a lot of Ascot for us at the moment. And
you've got Oxford City, the first home game, which, coincidentally, the men's team, their game has been postponed. So a fantastic opportunity for fans to come down to Burnham and see what Wycombe Wanderers Women's all about.
Yeah, and we've got the supporters groups coming down as well. Apparently they're bringing 50 supporters down and drum and all sorts of things. So I think it's going to be a bit of a surprise for the people that run Burnham Stadium when they see us come down. But it'd be great to get the Wycombe supporters down there for the men's section as well. They reached out to us and they said they really want to support us, which was amazing. So yeah, that'd be a great day as well.
And I know obviously we've spoken to you before about the impact of the Lionesses, but this must be a fantastic time for everyone at the club to really capitalise on the popularity of women's football.
I mean, it's accelerating. It's going really, really fast. Playing the Tier 3 teams that we did and having a look at them, you can see the accelerations even further. With Portsmouth now going for fully professional at Tier 3. So it's quickening up. We were, in terms of our numbers recruitment, we were done by May. We were finished, and we're still getting people coming at us now to join all the time. So the interest in women's football has exploded at the moment, and we're also getting more supporters that want to come down. And our season ticket allocation has I think we sold as many season tickets as we did the whole of last season already. So yeah, things are really, really good and it's really exciting. It's a great time to be in women's football.
And especially with Wycombe Wanderers Women as well, because I know, when we spoke to you last season, obviously, the target was promotion, but as you say, you've had that season of transition and you must feel that's really attainable this season now.
We feel like we're on firmer footing, so definitely the target will always be promotion, and we'll go for that again as best as we can. But we feel like we're in a really good shape now with the players that we brought in some more experience in key areas, and, we won't be in a situation. We had a good start last season, and then we had to do a rebuild in mid-season when, certain things didn't go the way that we wanted it to go and certain players had to leave. So we're not in that situation now. We've got a really good group of players. We're really strong. We all know each other and we're pushing forward from the first day of the season.
And it must be really positive as well for yourself and the coaches as well after, a full season under your belt and really get going now, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, even for myself, it's the first time in the league, so, we've had a look at it. We understand the requirements. We know what we're coming up against. So, we're really looking forward to getting our teams into it this season for ourselves. And a lot of the players that we brought in, it was complete unknown, and we were figuring things out as they were happening. We know where we are now, and that's a nice place to be. We can prepare accordingly. We can recruit accordingly as well, and we're feeling really good.
Well, it's been a real pleasure to speak to you. I look forward to catching up with you throughout the season, and wish you all the best for the first game on Sunday.
As always, mate, you take care. Fantastic. Cheers.
Great chatting to Carl Simon, and that, of course, the Wycombe Wanderers Women's manager. The men's team's boss, Matt Bloomfield, was speaking to Phil earlier today as well.
Gaffer, a few days before a game, transfer window open, busy old time, isn't it?
Yeah, thick and fast with the games, with the transfer window, lots going on. And we've also got a really important league game to prepare for on Saturday, so trying to get the balance right between it all. Certainly a busy time, but this is why we do what we do, because we love it. So, it's loads going on.
First and foremost, how's the reaction been from the disappointment on Tuesday?
As you'd expect, disappointment of the result. We wanted to win the game, we wanted to get through, but as we always do, we've watched it back, we've presented to the boys today on Thursday and told them our thoughts. I think we're still evolving as a team, as a squad, and there's plenty of plus points. The XG was really high, the shots were really high. There's certain elements that we need to tidy up in our build and our create phase, but there was some pleasing moments and some stuff we need to make sure we're better at.
And Northampton Town, looking at the table, an identical record to Wycombe Wanderers in terms of results. This one could be a tight one. Yeah,
it could be. Done a great job at Northampton, obviously getting promoted last year. And building a good squad, a good team. They've been together for a little while now, so I guess their cohesion will be good. We've watched them. We know they bring a real good threat about them. They've got some good players, so we're looking forward to the game. We've got to present ourselves in the best way we possibly can and make sure we're ready to go. So with the Cambridge game being off Saturday week, we need one last big effort before we get an opportunity to refresh slightly before we go again.
Be a local game as well, so there should be a lot of Chairboys fans. In fact, there will be lots of Chairboys fans there as well. That will help. Yeah,
absolutely, because they travelled obviously fantastic to Bristol and supported us with their voice, and I think over the years at Northampton we've always been followed really well with it being a fairly local game. So again, thank you to those guys that are putting their hands in their pocket on a regular basis to support us. We're trying to work our hardest to make sure we give them plenty to cheer, and we'll be doing our best on Saturday to follow suit.
Now, I'm on social media, I know you're not, but there's a name that's been doing the rounds. It's a name that's familiar to Wycombe Wanderers fans, Uche Igpiezu. What's happening?
Me and Uche have been in contact ever since he's left. I got on really well with him when he was here. Obviously, we were teammates at that point. With my position at the top of midfield and him being a striker, we had a close relationship on the pitch and off. And we've kept in regular contact. I was asked about it a couple of weeks ago, and my answer has to be the same. We're working our hardest to improve the squad. We're working our hardest to make sure we're right at 11 o'clock tomorrow evening. I know there's a lot of speculation out there, but at this moment in time, I can't really say too much apart from we're trying our hardest to make sure we're as strong as we can be.
Are you looking forward to that window being closed?
Yes. It's obviously been a busy period for us. I think there's been a bigger overhaul over the summer than what we maybe envisaged going into the summer, but we're really pleased with the amount of time that we've put into trying to get us in as strong a position as we possibly can. We've obviously had one or two situations that have been ongoing this week, and we want to make sure that as a football club, my responsibility to Rob and Pete and our supporters is to make sure we're as strong as we possibly can tomorrow evening.
And some things are bigger than football. It's a year since we lost our dear friend Bill Turnbull. I can't believe it's 12 months already. Yeah,
it's you're right, dear friend, an absolute inspiration as a person, just an absolute inspiration, full of energy and full of support and love for this football club. Obviously we came close off the pitch. I used to take my family around for lunch with him and Ceci, and I can't believe it's been a year since we've been able to see him, but a real dear friend. It will never be forgotten to us at Wycombe Wanderers, and someone we think about regularly.
Yeah, his legacy lives on. Men should go and get checked.
Yeah, definitely. It's, we need to remember that Bill suffered, and that he said a number of times that he wished he'd have got checked earlier. So it is something that we have a responsibility to ourselves and our loved ones to do. But we have to make sure we remember Bill with with a smile. You know, remember him at Wembley that night when he managed to find his way on the back of his journalist background, and he was at the side of the pitch celebrating with us. And like I say, just a real lover and supporter of Wycombe Wanderers through good and bad times. You know, he was always there supporting us, berating the referees and making sure we got the decisions we needed. So we remember him extremely fondly.
Well, I'm sure he'll be looking down with us wearing the green and white kit for the first time, hoping for 3 points on Saturday.
Absolutely.
Real pleasure to hear from the manager. Obviously, we wish the team all the best on Saturday as well, taking on Northampton Town. If you're not going to the game, you can hear it live here on Wycombe Sound and on Wanderers TV as well. Don't forget the Cambridge United game next Saturday, postponed. Date will be released for that rescheduled fixture in due course. And of course, we'll be bringing you lots more on next week's show, although we won't have a game to look ahead to. But I must say congratulations as well to Joe Lowe and also to Killian Phillips, who've been called up for their respective under-21s as well. And could be more news on more players as well who'll be representing their countries during the international break. Hope you've enjoyed this week's show. Steve Brown is in the Legends Lounge on the 16th of September as well. That's some more news to bring you as well. Have yourselves a fantastic week.